what the desk was trying to talk about with that wacky line and whatever.
With Evan's line.
Yeah, Evan's line. You know what? That sounds like the name of like a Hallmark Channel original movie. This summer, one man will be truly tested.
Evan's line.
Evan's line. Rated R. So now we'll see who truly is closer to that line and if FlyQuest can take the win over Cloud9, who has historically been one of those top teams. FlyQuest always in sort of that underdog spot, but hey, they're looking ferocious now.
Absolutely. And while FlyQuest did have a nice little burn on C9, being down in 5th place currently, they're 6-2 since they've had their intended roster, right? They did start Super Week with the Academy bot lane, and they went 0-3 there. So if you want to talk about performance levels with their intended starting lineup, they have been doing a lot better than their record suggests. They've had a lot of very close games, though, I will say. A lot of kind of almost losses, but they're able to pull it out in the end. They've had some really good individual performances, people stepping up. Last week, a lot of it was about Jensen. His Taliyah game was incredible. The desk was talking about how it was kind of between Jensen and Takui to see who would actually win Player of the Week. Takui edging him out in the end, but this is going to be a really fun one to see if Cloud9 is still kind of on that upward trajectory, up and to the right, making those improvements, and if FlyQuest can challenge them regardless, because FlyQuest right now, I mean, they're tied for 3rd. They're tied with TL, and no one would have been thinking that, I think, coming into the split.
FlyQuest has been having a good time so far, and with Kalista, Yuumi, Gangplank, Seraphine, Ahri, and Viego banned away, it's a very fast first pick Taliyah here for the side of FlyQuest.
And I really like it because it's actually a contested pick here between these two mid laners that I was just talking about. Both of them had an incredible game on it last week. They both have currently like an infinite KDA. None of them have actually died on it. Jensen absolutely carried a game on it. Takui absolutely carried a game on it. So it's going to be interesting to see if it is in fact going to mid lane or if it is going to be swapped over to Josedeodo. Of course, people can play at jungle, but it is mostly mid these days. Zeri available is grabbed up there by Berserker, one of his most popular champions. The most common pairing, Yuumi, has been banned away. So they don't necessarily have to grab their support right here, but they could go in and Enchanter support like Lulu if they wanted. Sven has been playing that quite a lot.
Or could just go with the Nautilus, get some engage. It's one of those things that Taliyah does not like to have to deal with.
Yeah.
Although she's very good at staying at range, she has some ability to punish you if you do get close. Those engages, she gets grabbed, she's done.
Absolutely. It is really, really scary, but at the same time, that workaround, the E throwing that out, you can actually stun the Nautilus on his hook, stun the Zeri on her dash. So it is one of the reasons that it's so popular in this current meta is that you can actually shut down a lot of this. Poppy as well. I mean, the 1-2 of Poppy and Taliyah is just so anti-dash, and all the champions in the meta right now are these dash champs that are very, very heavily punished by this. Even bringing out Sivir, which I still think we've only seen maybe like once or twice. I can remember the Luger game, him bringing that out for CLG. I can't really remember off the top of my head another Sivir game this split in the LCS. So this is the updated Sivir. Does have incredible scaling, more mana issues, of course, now as the spell shield gives you health back instead of mana. But you aren't going that old style lethality build anymore. It's much more about the crit because the crit scaling is amping the damage on your boomerang blade. Your W, the ricochet can actually bounce multiple times the same champion, which makes you really, really deadly in those team fights. And the cast speed also goes down on your Q. So, it's one of those things where, in the late game, you're just firing out spells. It's not even overlapping, with your attacks and kind of cutting off those animations. So the amount of damage you can put out late game is incredible. It also sets up for a potential split push pick in top lane if Philip wants to play that, because the wave clear from Sivir is amazing.
Plus, when you're up against a melee support and an AD carry that's going to be like getting sort of close to you, diving around using that movement speed like Zeri, that's going to feel good, right? You're not up against anything that's super long range so far, where Sivir would typically have those situations where it's more dangerous to get close.
Absolutely. Plus, one of the easiest things to react to is the Nautilus ultimate. You're going to spell shield that 10 times out of 10, right? That is so free to spell shield on Sivir. Now, C9, though, banning away some of the common engaged support. They already have the Nautilus, so they're taking away the Leona and the Alistar, expecting that FlyQuest does need some form of hard engage. And generally, these days, teams are not actually drafting hard engage in top lane, so you're expecting it to be support. There are still, of course, other options. You could go Rakan, you could go Rel, you can go, a lot of different choices here for Afro, but the most common ones are kind of being taken off the table.
Well, C9 look like they're choosing between top laners here as this 4th pick. Okay, so it's going to be Gwen.
I'm actually really surprised that they're going top here instead of blinding jungle. So to me, that says you have a conditional jungle pick, right? Like there's no reason to actually blind top lane on 4 when you're on red side, unless Blabber is saying, okay, if they do X or Y, I'm gonna have a surprise pick that's gonna crush the game.
Exactly,
right? Like I'm gonna go fiddle if they go X, right? So one thing I will say though is they have double AP soul laner, so we are kind of looking for an AD jungler, and in that case, I'm not really sure like what the big surprise is going to be. Will be Jax as the answer. This is a scaling counter pick. It's not that it's going to slam the Gwen early on, but you do outscale the Gwen heavily in the 1v1. The mist doesn't really do anything for you because Jax is up in your face inside that with the counter strike, looking to blast you. Taric would be interesting as a support here. Not something we've seen a lot of, and Taric is going to get locked in. So this is a lot of team fight power. And you drop the ulti, you attach to the Poppy or the Jax with your Bastion, use the Dazzle Stun off of them to really kind of be your pseudo engage.
I mean, if you have a team fight that has Taric in it, his ultimate pick over a team fight, right? It makes everything very difficult. And then you also have Jax that you're betting on for scaling for this side lane. FlyQuest seems like they are going to have the power of that scaling as the game goes forward with those two champions here.
And this is going to be really exciting. The first Olaf of the year, or of the split, I should say, for Blabber. Olaf had been, after the mini rework, very much so a top laner. It got a number of top lane nerfs. It's got some jungle buffs now. So now it is a viable jungler. And this is, I would say, Blabber's probably his best champion historically in the LCS. He has an almost 83% win rate, 17 games played, a 7.4 KDA across his career. Blabber is known for running over games on this. And it's going to be a really interesting one because you can just pop the ulti, fly in there with the support of the Orianna, really look to get aggressive onto some of these squishy champions. Sivir.
All right, on to Summoner's Rift as our mid laners come face to face. Lots of eyes here on this matchup. Isaac, both of these guys have the power to put the game in their team's hands.
Absolutely. It's going to be a really exciting one. As I said, incredible Twiga games from both these players last week. The Takui gets it this time around. And when you think of Jensen, I talked about historically, what would you say, Blabber's best champ is? Most people will point to the Olaf. For Jensen, it's pretty much guaranteed to be his Orianna. 84 games played, 72.6% win rate. That is absurd. This guy has always delivered on it. And he's been one of those rare players that doesn't seem to need the setup to land those shockwaves. He always seems to find the angle to really deliver with that. He's such a beast in the team fights on it. So it's going to be exciting to see how he can perform here. He is playing Flash Ghost, so it is not DP. It is much more about the movement spells here, about being able to kind of weave in and out. And against these melee champions, it is really important to have that move speed advantage.
And as the minions are about to collide, let's hear what Takui has to say about his opponents for today's game.
Honestly, I feel like C9 has not arrived to their final form yet. I see a lot of mistakes that I think those players should be able to clear because they have a lot of experienced players, So yeah, I'd say now they are not really scary, but maybe they will be later on.
Yeah, fair enough. I think that's the same read that most people do have on this. You can see Philip is actually trying to zone Fudge off experience. If we could click on Fudge, we can see if he actually did get XP for those waves. But I think at least he might have missed one of the melee minions. So that's why Philip is playing so far past the wave. Interesting to see, though, Philip never uses Counter-Strike. Just now is he using it. Does get a nice little trade there. I'm going to go right back in with the fast 2. Nice. So Fudge now chunked very low here. Does have one potion running, has one more to his name. I'm not sure if he's playing Biscuits. I don't think that he is.
Ooh, good trade there, bottom lane too. FlyQuest getting advantages in both top and bottom lane by hitting that level 2 spike earlier and hitting it in a spot where they're able to use it, right? Like their opponents are not already so far back that they can disengage that advantage. Good stuff from both Philip and Afromu there in the bottom lane setting up the spot.
Yeah, absolutely. You land that Dazzle. He does have Glacial Augment. Oh, too far there from Philip. Gonna take a power shot. That's a rough one because now he's throwing away his trading advantage.
That ruins the whole thing.
Jose is moving up, but now you just got to reset the wave because look how low Philip is. Jose is going to be spotted. Blabber is in the area. I don't think that they can go for this dive whatsoever. No. And Fudge is going to try to hold the wave. He just has to walk forward into the brush now, and he's actually going to have, I think the back range minions there won't actually crash. So it will be a little mini freeze if Fudge wants it. He could actually base and come back. Philip will be forced to TP to try to fix this wave. So, Philip had been laning well, but you take that tower shot, you lose the HP advantage, and yeah, now he has to TP right back in, try to push up, fix his wave. and he is going to be in a worse situation because of it. You can see all 3 melee minions from that Cloud9 wave got denied, so Philip is missing out on all that gold, all that experience off of one little mistake.
And that's League of Legends, man. Sometimes the smallest mistakes can have the biggest impacts. Even if he had that really nice trading pattern early, that one turret shot sort of screwing everything up there means that Fudge is feeling fine here in the top lane, 19-11 there in terms of farm. Blabber, knowing that Josedeodo was on the top side of the map, goes into the bottom side jungle of FlyQuest.
And one of the biggest deals, too, is that, he had to spend his TP on a recall that was a terrible buy, right? Like, he went back to base and got a refill and a pink ward. Yeah. He wasn't able to actually stay around long enough. Poppy up here on the top side. Fudge does have the read, so is going to be able to back off. But this is annoying for Fudge because now, see how the wave got stacked? So Philip walks through the tower, stacks the wave, so that will push away from Fudge. That does mean that a lot of these minions are going to be denied. So now Fudge is in that same situation where he has to actually TP back and fix the wave. Did get a little bit of a better buy, of course. Got the Amp Dome plus the refill and the pink ward that Philip did get. And he'll be able to shove this out, fix that wave. Won't be too big of a deal. And Philip, unfortunately, goes back to base. Still has no buy. So a little bit of an awkward situation here early on. But still, in this matchup, you are more playing for the long game. You're playing to outscale, looking towards multiple items. If you really want to build for that 1v1, you can even go things like Wit's End, which are super, super effective. You're not only against Fudge, but Jensen's in there too. And Zeri even has quite a bit of magic damage. So I think Wit's End is actually a very good buy there for Philip this game. But we'll see if he wants to go it, because a lot of people do just like to rush straight towards their Mythic or Blade the Rune King these days. If you go Bork first, then you don't really want to go Wit's End second. You don't want to play your Mythic third. So I'm kind of expecting it to either just be like a Triforce Rush or a Bork and a Triforce Rush.
And as we have a little bit of vision placed down here in the topside jungle by Fudge, who's using the opportunity of that crashed wave to try to keep an eye on the enemy jungler, Josedeodo will be heading into his topside jungle now, only just now clearing that blue buff away. So a bit of a delayed take here in the jungle.
But I mean, look at the farm between these two junglers, right? Look at the gold advantage. No one has died yet, and Xena are up 800, well, it was, 700 something. Now it's actually cutting away. But still a good 500-600 gold at this point in time with more minions left for them to farm. Nice little trade there from Takui onto Jensen.
Stuff there.
But most of it is really just on Blabber, right? Blabber is actually up 3+ camps and took the dragon. So, Poppy was more hovering around topside. Jose pathed top twice to try to look for dive angles, didn't get anything from it. As a result, Blabber's just going to be way ahead of the curve of the game.
Jensen stepping up here as Takui does not find the seismic shove onto him. And I mean, when Olaf has been popular and has been meta in the jungle before, his clear speeds have always been incredible. And that's what you want to see these experienced Olaf players like Blabber doing, is knowing exactly how much they can power farm and take the advantage of that. As Philip smacks Fudge around a little bit here in the top side. Blabber's coming around mid lane.
They're going to try to dive top, though. That's the more important thing here, is they're actually going to look to dive.
Fudge is trying to get away. He does not have any mist to protect him. There's your steadfast presence. Nicely done from Josedeodo. And first blood goes over to Philip.
That is massive. The third trip towards top lane there from Jose pays dividends big time. Jensen on the roam up towards top. We'll see what he can find here.
Oh, a nice flash stun into the wall comes out from Josedeodo, and now Philip's able to pursue him, flashing over the wall. One more leap strike will be enough. Jensen gives him a freebie, and it's Josedeodo delivering the punish. Now Blabber trying to see if he can pick somebody else up here. Sven's made the rotation as well. Josedeodo and Philip trying to get away from this. Blabber coming in, can't be disabled, but there comes the Jax counterstrike. Not enough just yet. Takui jumps in. Takui's got no mana, but Blabber's got no life. Takui with a seismic shove to throw Sven back away, and he tries to get out, staying close to the terrain, flashing out of the way, and the dredge line can't lollipop to hit him.
Man, it's getting spicy in the top lane. Fudge, early laning was going well for him, but now it is a disaster when he gets zoned off that wave. You can see he was trying to fight heavily for the wave to actually hit 6 to try to be able to clear that out with the needlework. Did not get 6 prior to the dive coming through, though. So he's forced to run, and it was on a double, if not triple stacked wave. So he lost all that experience. Jax gets not only the first blood, but gets a double kill, and now Jax is so far ahead of this Gwen in a matchup that outscales. It is absolutely brutal to play from here for Fudge, so you're going to have to be depending on the rest of your team to really try to carry this one. And bad goes the worst because Sven, he did make a great roam up towards top, but Sven was the one who got the shutdown kill. So you can see Fudge, he's trying to fight for the wave because he knows a dive could be coming. They know his Krugs respawn, Jose could be there. But having used the Shroud here early, realizing, okay, I actually can't get to 6, Jose just comes straight in, tackles him right against the wall, gets the stun, phase rush proc, so he's just utilizing the Q to keep him slowed, staying up ahead of him. Nice timing there on the Poppy W, stuns him up on the dash, and then up comes Jensen here. Jensen was hoping to, I think, he honestly, he needed to just flash back to the tower, I think. I don't think he was expecting the flash Poppy stun. And then from here, he's looking with the Ghost to try to shockwave him behind, but he didn't quite get the timing as Philip's Sleep Strike comes back up, gets that kill. Then, of course, Blabber arriving, Sven arriving, as it was a bit of a chase down, but really unfortunate for C9 that Blabber didn't actually get the kill. You know, the shutdown gold goes to Sven, so no carries. Being able to actually get that gold here, and Kukui just barely able to limp out of this one, trading flash for flash with Sven.
A nice job there on the seismic shove, and then as he flashes away, flashing in a straight line, just barely getting out of the maximum range of the dredge line. Had to have a little bit of sweat on his forehead after that one came out.
Look at the gold between Fudge and Philip. You see the FTX total gold. Fudge is down with the supports. Philip is on top of the game.
Philip's on top of the world, baby. Philip taking over the game right now, but it's C9 looking to take the Rift Herald. Sven's going to be eaten away from this one by Josedeodo's ultimate. Rift Herald secured by C9 and by Blabber, who walks up. He's going to be slammed into the wall. They get the ultimate out. That's what they're going for here. Philip jumps in, but Josedeodo's going to die. They just turn it around. FlyQuest is free food, and Cloud9 just won the game.
How many times have you seen Blabber do this on Olaf? The enemy team thinks they have him caught. They go in for Blabber, but Blabber knows the limits of his champion so damn well. Turns around on the Olaf, just straight up takes down Jose. The rest of the team pile in. We can watch this one more time. Jose's looking for the E here onto multiple members. Earlier on in the fight, he'd already knocked out Sven. Then lands a stun on Blabber. Blabber says, all right, I'm taking this fight. He doesn't flash, doesn't have a way out, gets the speed up and the shield there from Orianna, goes straight in, kills up Jose. Philip's looking in for the multi-man stun, just assuming that Blabber was dead, but Blabber comes back in, kills him off as well, does eventually fall, but then Fudge needlework through everybody on the team. Berserker's roasting him with the AoE. Jensen's in there with all his spells hitting multiple members. And what looked like it was going to be a dominant game here through the top side for FlyQuest all of a sudden is very heavily back in the favor of Cloud9.
That was absolutely awesome for C9, and now FlyQuest got to figure out what else they want to do. Josedeodo,
and that's
fighting
for
Fudge 1v1. Yeah, Fudge is not having a good game personally, but his team is doing great, helping him out here as they're coming up top, looking to make this happen again. Orianna ball goes over the wall. They don't want to let Fudge die here. Takui coming up now, trying to help out the rest of FlyQuest. C9 disengaging when they see that it's a fair fight because Fudge is already half dead.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yes, C9 does kind of push them out of there, but now Jensen and them have to walk back, and they don't have vision here. This is awkward. It's going to be a 3v2. Blabber now spotted.
Blabber goes in. He wants Takui. Talia can't.
He's got it.
That's what I'm talking about. Talia cannot escape. Once the Viking has found his way in, it is Ragnarok, baby. FlyQuest heads for the hills, and Blabber is heading straight for the top of the scoreboard.
He's gonna kill him too.
Going underneath the turret for Jose, and Jensen gets paid.
Blabber is just going insane on the Olaf. Fifth pick. Who cares about top lane? It's Blabber that is the counter here. Has the earlier Sunderer, has the Herald, full mid lane tower is going to be going down here. Who gave Blabber Olaf? That's a good question. He's going to get it this game. I don't think we're going to see it on him for a while after this one is Cloud9. 5K up. 5K 12 minutes in when they were down, what, 1.5K or something purely off of top lane? Like, this game looked like a go next, and now it is for the other team.
Yeah, I was not lying when I said C9 won that game at the Rift Herald. That is absolutely incredible stuff from C9 off the back of Blabber's Olaf. Let's see it here again. No hesitation, blood in his eyes, goes for Talia.
I mean, he just knows the limits of his champion so damn well. Takui thought, I have Ghost, I can kite this out. He had Spellbook over the Ghost, popped the Ghost immediately, but the axes connect. Blabber just has no hesitation. He knows the exact limits on this champion better than anybody. He's going to go straight in for it, has Jensen behind him. And with Takui going down, they don't have the damage to actually get through this. Jose tries to look for the turnaround kill here, goes for the R tap, knocks him up, hits the Q, tackle comes through, and the tower shot, but not enough damage to get the kill. And now Blabber is going to be playing in your face for the rest of the game. He's got the Mythic, got the Tabbies, and likely working towards like a Deadman's or something like that. He could go even more aggressive though if he wants.
And I love Sunderer here because of the fact that this means there's nobody on the enemy team that is safe. If he can run down Sivir or Talia, we just saw he doesn't need any extra damage to do that. But if he is stuck fighting Poppy or Jax on the front line, he chews through them like bubblegum now too. There is nothing on FlyQuest that can survive the deluge of damage that is this Olaf.
And that is important because Fudge is not having a fun game. You know, I feel like we are just seeing this constantly. This top side of the map gets invaded. Phillips slow stacks the top wave right as it's coming to the tower. Jose is up there like clockwork every single time. And now they actually even move up their bot lane up towards top as well. They're trying to get Phillip the solo gold on this turret here. They will do it.
Okay, but Fudge getting stunned to the wall. FlyQuest coming in trying to make a play here, but Fudge wants to return the favor. Pours some damage into him. The Taric ultimate is already out. C9, they want to try to make anything else happen here. No, they don't. Don't have their AD carry. They got the ulti out of Afra move, so considering that's a pretty long cooldown early, they've got a couple of minutes where they don't have to be really afraid here. C9 does already have both of the early Drakes in this game as well. We've been having so much blood, we haven't had as much time to talk about it, but things are going wholeheartedly their way.
I mean, the discrepancies in these lanes are just actually crazy, right? Like, you're looking across the different carries. Yes, top lane is boom for Cloud9, but you look at the gold difference, you know, across mid, jungle, and bot. You know, it was like almost 2K up for a lot of these people. Like, Berserker is so farmed here.
I think any top laner in League of Legends will tell you, if one team's top laner is ahead and the other team's everyone else is ahead, you don't put any money on the top laner.
No.
Ever. It's not, that's not
Sorry,
the current,
Fudge, maybe next game, bud.
That's
like,
not the landscape of the current League of Legends game state. Fudge is just, hey, he gets to put up his feet, recline his chair, hop in the back of the car, and just go drive down Easy Street.
Exactly.
It's
perfect.
A good time.
It's prepping him for the cast later on.
Right,
you know?
yeah, we have Fudge later on today for game number 3, and that's going to be awesome because he'll be able to tell us about how he hard carried. He was tweeting.
We can see if he's mentally broken.
He said he's about to 1v9 LCS broadcast today, so he's putting all his eggs in that basket. He's chilling in the game here.
Yeah.
He's having a good time, man. Now, Blabber's the one having the best time, though. Blabber's the one who's just absolutely going to town in this game. Philip coming in from the side. They'll look for Jensen. They're putting the CC together and going after him. The Cloud9 mid laner just goes boom. But now Blabber's looking to get something back. He flashes in, but he can't do it. He's run out of the Ragnarok, and FlyQuest have found some crucial kills.
Yeah, that is huge. FlyQuest is group 5. Walk over, look to take a fight here. Jensen and Blabber, they are confident in any 2v2. They're probably confident in any 2v3 even.
2v4 though?
2v4, 2v5, they do not have it. But they were not expecting everyone to show up like this for the scrap. And now FlyQuest getting some room back in this game here, starting up the Herald. 3 members of Cloud9 though in the area. Look at Philip though, he's coming out on the map looking for a flank angle here. I don't think Cloud9 can actually try to challenge.
Now, the important thing here is, yes, this is awesome for FlyQuest. They desperately needed those kills. They desperately needed that Herald and the objective bounty with it. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. They've got a long way to go. It's still a 4,000 gold lead at 16 minutes. They are still very far behind, and they still cannot afford any more egregious mistakes with Blabber's Olaf nearby. It was a very nice play there. It was overconfidence from C9, but FlyQuest is going to need probably 2 or 3 more of those to get it back to even.
Yeah, absolutely. It is going to be a tough road back for sure. They do have some really good scaling, though, and Taric is an awesome answer to the Olaf because it's so telegraphed. This guy doesn't do anything tricky, right? He pops his ult. When he pops his ult, he's going to run at you, right? So, you know, if you can survive those few moments until the Taric ult does come down, there's not really like a fallback plan for Blabber. Like, he's got to go in and he's got to kill you off. So, you know, you're either trying to look to burst prior to that Taric ult landing, or you're trying to, you know, force out the Taric ult without fully committing as the Olaf and then have it for afterwards. So we'll see if they can handle it. But again, Fudge up here alone on that top lane, just playing very respectfully. Has honestly done a good job to only die once this game. Like, they've been up there so much. Jose has made like 5, 6, 7 trips up towards top lane in that Krugs area. He knows his team is getting stuff on the other side of the map, so no need to go crazy. And they are already at 3 dragons. This is one of the powerful things about Olaf. One of the best at actually soloing up these early objectives. Takes it down very quickly. So they're on pace for about a 22, 23-minute soul here. And that's going to be where FlyQuest has to be ready to fight.
And not just a soul, Hex Tech Soul. This is not a Cloud Dragon map. This is not an Ocean map where you have those squishy champions. Hex Tech Soul is so scary. Even the individual Hex Tech Drakes giving attack speed and ability haste, those are desirable stats for every single champion in the game. This is a very, very intimidating position to be playing from for FlyQuest. They got about 4 minutes and 20 seconds of breathing room.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, and they're just going to have to hope. Basically, your best shot as FlyQuest is that you hit 2 items, and Cloud9 has not hit 3 items, right? Because that's what C9 is actually looking towards. You can see, I mean, Johnson is an entire item behind Berserker right now, right? You know, the BF sword is basically equal to the Zeal, or thereabouts. And then you're looking at a PD on top for Berserker, so he's massively ahead. You know, same deal in mid lane is another full item there. You know, this is kind of the problem that they're facing, so they have to hope that Cloud9 does not hit their 3rd item, that they can hit their 2nd, and that they can be within striking distance if they really execute well on a fight.
Well, that gold lead is currently about 4.8, 4.9 thousand, so we'll keep our eyes on it, where it goes relative to that as we get closer to the Drakes. Remember that we still have the Eye of the Herald in the inventory of Josedeodo. It is running out of time. It will not last long enough to be deployed during that dragon spawning, so they can't wait and try to go for that sort of an angle. Where do you want to see them use it here? Because objective bounties are available. I want to see FlyQuest get something with this Eye if they can.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would have said just drop it wherever Philip is, right? Try to get more gold on the Jax. I think he's your best hope in this game. If Philip can kill someone in the side lane, that buys you time. That actually opens up the map a lot. Yep. They are heading down towards that, so I would say play through your Jax. That is your strong point on the map right now. If they can get Philip to a point where he can really take over, that would be very, very big for them. And they're just going to send 5 bot, but this has been spotted. The sweeper is actually going to see the pink ward, but there was that one ward in that side brush that it's not actually going to spot. You know, this ward right here, FlyQuest did walk by, so now Fudge knows, okay, I can safely shove out top. Berserker pushes out mid. They are going to drop the Herald here, but it's just going to be for the charge. They're not actually going to try to stay around and cash out on the tower.
Yep, Jensen and Sven both down here to protect this one. There comes your charge. Not quite enough to take the turret down, so no objective bounty money coming back in. The gold lead a little bit higher than it was a minute ago here for the side of C9 as they'll continue maintaining control over this bottom of the map area. You can see the vision game right now. All the wards from FlyQuest are placed down on their own half of the map. They are very much in full defense mode right now. They know how dire this game state is, and they can't be making unnecessary risks.
So Philip does have the wit's end now. He did a little bit of a different build than I've been seeing. You know, obviously going for Sunderer. Sunderer is always really popular in pro because it's just kind of slightly more tanky. I have been seeing a lot more Triforce these days in solo queue. Yeah. Triforce is getting a lot more popular. It's kind of higher DPS option. But Sunderer, wit's end, really strong 2 items here against Fudge, against Jensen, really against the whole squad. And as you start to hit, you know, 13, you have max out on the leaf strike, so the cooldown becomes very low there on your Q, on your E. And that's when you can actually start team fighting more, once you have levels, right? When the cooldown is low. Because early on in the game, it's like you leaf strike in, use your counter strike, they get away, you have nothing else to really be able to follow up. But once you have some CDR, once you have those levels, it becomes much easier to constantly be leap striking forward and actually sticking to some of these hard to get to targets.
I mean, that's one of the reasons behind Jax's incredible scaling capabilities, right? It's the fact that all 3 of his spells really just feel so good with lower cooldown, but they all start out with not that great cooldown. I mean, W is pretty much half a spell with at level 1. Like, you get 30 extra damage on your stupid bonk and an auto attack reset. Like, that's junk. But once it's level 5, it's so scary. It adds so much DPS.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that obviously the passive autos as well, right? All kind of in there. Again, back up towards top side. Anytime there's a wave that's going to be crashing, FlyQuest sends it up towards top, looking to zone Fudge off his tower. We'll see if they want to commit to the turret itself. There's only 50 seconds until Soul. Maybe FlyQuest is going to try to actually get something here and give it up. Oh, no.
Oh, they go in for Fudge, but it doesn't turn into a whole lot just yet. FlyQuest, this one's not going where they want it to go. Afro move bringing down the ulti, but FlyQuest are still in a bit of a tough spot. C9 pouring the damage into the health bars as Blabber stays alive, tanking on the front line, but he's finally going to drop. FlyQuest get 2! FlyQuest
here comes
2.
Berserker!
It's 3v3 here on the map.
Penta angle!
Berserker is killing everyone!
There it is!
Berserker gets the penta!
Berserker popping off! You could see it happening! He saw the angle. Tarek ultimate expires. He had held his ulti the whole time there. Pops it up. He's shredding through FlyQuest. Cloud9 knocks him down. They're going to get the soul as well here. Berserker going off in that fight.
Pentakill, Hex, Soul demands counting straight to victory. Let's see it again.
They try to pull up the dodge here, but the counter-strike expired before the flash there from Philip. The misexecution means Fudge just walks it out. Then Berserker over the wall here, you know, gets right in on Johnson. The Terragalt lands. So he just waits it out. As soon as the Terror Gold expires, he pops the R over the wall, hitting multiple people here, and then just shredding through them. As they start to actually look to retreat, he has the E back up again. He has tons of stacks on the ulti. He hits multiple members here with the zap, then dashes back in with the E. So now he has the AoE activated again, shredding through the Taric. Turns onto Johnson as soon as Tukui goes into the stasis, gets the Quadra, and has the damage to finish him off for the Penta. Jensen standing and watching, cheering on the team.
Beautifully done.
Whoa!
Whoa! Jensen didn't even bother throwing out an auto attack. He was like, nope, this is your moment, bro. 7,500 damage in that fight, and now C9's looking to go again. Blabber throws out the axe. He pops the ulti. He's trying to keep hitting the damage, but unfortunately, that ult expires a lot faster than it used to if you're not hitting them.
Yeah. You gotta be up on him, and you can keep that active, but if not, it does not work out. Respect the attempt there, tries to flash in, doesn't actually find any of the axes. Jose a little bit too fast, able to get out of there. He's got the moon pants, got the move speed item right there.
Is that what they're called? Is moon?
No, they're moon pants to me. I forget, they're moon plated something or something like that.
Moon plate greaves or something.
Yeah, moon
like
plate
that?
greaves. They're just the moon pants.
All right, that's fair enough. I accept that. That's a pretty good name. I'll take that. But right now, I mean, other than a nice pair of pants that make you walk a little faster, FlyQuest don't have a whole lot going for them, my friend. This is not a good place to be playing League of Legends from.
Yeah.
You're staring down the barrel of an 8,000 gold lead, a Baron buff, a Dragon Soul. There's not a whole lot they can do.
Just compare the items, and then you get real sad, right? Like, it's one of those situations where it's just like, we're scaling, guys.
I'm almost 3 items, even though he's almost 6. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. It's a tough one, right? Berserker still has cleanse. He has a stopwatch. There's 4 stopwatches on Cloud9. There's 0 on the other side. So it is really tough when your opponents are this far ahead, have the soul, have a 9,000 gold lead, have all these luxury items in there to boot. It would take perfection from FlyQuest, but really, I think it's just about loss mitigation. You just hope that Sivir can clear out these waves and that you can make this game go super, super long.
45-minute game with Sivir and Taric late game team fighting, Jack's 5 items.
Exactly. Maybe something happens. Even then, it's going to be really, really tough, right? Because Cloud9 does have good scaling of their own. Jax, though, on 3 items now, has the Frozen Heart, so now the CDR is really amped up. And those cooldowns start to get very, very short with CDR boots and that Frozen Heart. So Philip, he's kind of the hope, right? Like he could still win a 1v1 for sure against Gwen, but the problem is Fudge doesn't need to risk anything. Anytime Fudge sees him, he's just gonna walk away because he knows the rest of his team is just so much stronger than the 4-man squad of FlyQuest.
Right, and that's exactly what they're about to showcase here. Josedeodo has to back up. C9 just gonna burn this one down. Dredgeline doesn't hit Tukui. However, the zap does.
700.
Yeah, that spells. I don't have any broadcast appropriate words I can use.
It's like another really Z champion. It's basically Zoe.
It's really strong. Anyway, they're just switching the aggro over to mid. They don't have to stop. Their resources aren't really being taxed. They have plenty of health, plenty of mana. The Jax that you're talking about being the hope of FlyQuest, he's up there in the top side, coming back down towards mid lane now. This might be FlyQuest one shot at trying to make a play, but no, the turret is already down before Philip is able to make his way in there.
I think they're gonna go. He's still looking.
Number 2.
Here they go.
Blabber gets hit by the seismic shove, and now Philip's coming in. He deploys the counter-strike. He's going in for Jensen, but he's not able to find the damage. He dies before the ulti comes down. Fudge has made his way into the back, and FlyQuest are now trapped. Blabber is low HP. Fudge still looking for it. There's your zap. There's your crit. There's your hit. Goodbye, Johnson. Double kill back over to Fudge, and the man is snipping him to pieces. Stunned up into the wall now, but C9 ain't done. Fudge is not afraid to die for the team. The minions are going to tank up the turret, so he won't even have to. Josedeodo wants to come in there and try to grab some sort of a kill to do something, but it won't work. And C9 dismantle FlyQuest.
What an exciting game, man. Action start to finish in this one. Cloud9 stomping through FlyQuest. FlyQuest had the smart early game plan, really put Fudge behind, but it was the team fighting from Cloud9 that reigned supreme. You cannot underestimate the Blabber Olaf in the early game. This champion has been changed, but he ran over some of those early game skirmishes, and the late game was all about Jensen, all about Berserker as well on the Zeri. He got a pentakill in this one, was crushing through FlyQuest, and FlyQuest was just put so far down so fast, they didn't have any real way to come back.
I mean, FlyQuest had that nice first 8 minutes of the game or whatever, where they were able to build that 1,500 gold lead. But the Rift Herald